Okay, we gotta chop our apples here, okay? If you want to be perfect for your pie, you have to decide how big you want the apple slices or the chunks for your pie. Okay, so you could do slices, like we're talking slices like that. You could do chunks. So if you want to do some chunks like that, we'll show you some more chunks, okay? So you could do chunks. Or again, you could do slices like that, or you can leave them in whole pieces, okay? I know sometimes when I'm eating apple pie, I don't like to get the big chunks. I prefer a lot of slices. You can just have a mix of everything in there. So I'm chopping away. I'm going in a little bit thinner slices. Mix here of slices and chunks. Done, ready. Add those back in our bowl. We lost a couple there. So we've got our prep work done for our apples. These are set to go now. We're gonna start making the filling. The pie crust, of course, check that easy recipe out on my channel. That right now is in the fridge. It's firming up, so that's gonna be fantastic as well. Again, I'm gonna be able to use that crust for pies and for tarts. So we've got a lot of different options once it's made. That's why I made that pie crust. When you see that easy recipe, I made that pie crust double the recipe, so that way I had enough for 4 pies, or 2 pies with 2 crusts, or a heck of a lot of tarts. So if we're making it, let's up our batch size. That way we've got it ready. You don't need to go through all the work again. You've set yourself up for at least 4 good-sized pies. Okay, let's get to work on the rest. Okay, so that's about a 1/4 cup of butter, or 4 tablespoons. We'll let that butter melt. Butter's ready, so lightly packed about a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Make sure that flame heat is nice and low, okay? Leave the sugar alone. And 1/2 cup of regular white sugar. We're gonna leave that on low heat and be careful not to let that burn. Excellente. Nice. Add in our apples. We'll give those a nice little stir, and they're going to get coated in our butter and sugar mixture. A little sprinkle of nutmeg, about a 1/4 teaspoon. Cinnamon, I like about 2 teaspoons in here. We can always add more later on if we feel the need. Just a pinch of salt and a teaspoon of vanilla. Let's give this a good stir. Make sure all the sugar is dissolved. And then of course our apples are going to begin to soften as well, okay? So releasing all the liquid from the apples, not to worry. We're gonna thicken this up with a small mixture of a couple of teaspoons of water and cornstarch. Good. It's already smelling really good, and I am going to be giving this a taste before I put this in the pie crust. I want to make sure it's nice and sweet. It smells great already. I can smell the cinnamon and the nutmeg. That is tasting great. I'll bring it for a closer look here. I'll stir with one hand and I'll record with the other. So this is a time where if you wanted to add a little bit more cinnamon, a little bit more nutmeg, you could certainly do that. We've got plenty of sugar in there. We've got plenty of butter in there. Tasting really, really nice right now. And shortly, I'm going to go ahead and add in that cornstarch mixture. So here goes the cornstarch mixture. That's going to help to thicken everything up for us. We don't like runny apple pie at all, and if we need to add in a little bit more, we will. It's going to thicken that up nicely. And this just needs to be on the heat now for about a minute. You see how that's coming together right there? It's certainly thickened up our sauce, and that's what we want. Look at that, just like magic. So that was about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and equivalent amount of water. Look at that. See how that's getting nice and thick in there, everybody? I'll bring you in closer so you can check that out. Getting nice and thick. Oh, I gotta make sure I keep the camera so you guys can see it. See how it's getting nice and thick? And now we're gonna go ahead and remove that from the heat. One final stir. Look at that. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Perfect. We'll bring it right over here off the heat. So it was only on there for about 90 seconds or so with the cornstarch mixture. And then we're going to transfer this into a bowl, and we're going to have to let it cool completely before we fill up our pie crust. Okay, so here we go for our pie filling, our apple pie filling. It's all set to go. We're going to transfer that into this bowl here. It's extremely hot, so be careful. Did I hit record? I hope I did. We'll see in a minute. Okay. Just have to be extremely careful here because we're working with a very hot pot. We want to get all this filling out. We're not leaving anything go to waste. Nice and thick. So this has to cool completely. It's going to take about an hour. We'll leave it room temperature here for a while, and then we're going to put it in the fridge. We've got plenty of time, so we're under no rush. Make sure we get all that off the bowl. So you may have noticed I was saying when we remove that, or when we add in our cornstarch mixture to thicken that up, you need to make sure you take it off that heat after just a minute to 90 seconds max, because we don't want that to burn. So it's very important here. This is the most important part of the entire apple pie filling. Most important part of the apple pie filling is testing it out before you fill your crust up. If it's not good, I'm not serving it. Okay, that's a lie. I would still serve it to my brother. Okay, here we go. It's hot. Look at this. It's hot. Everything. Look. Ooh, this apple I think is going to be great. It smells great. Oh, yeah. Boom! It's fantastic. Be sure to check out the easy recipe that I have on my channel for the pie crust. Get to filling up our pie crust once this is ready. I'm going to go get cleaned up a little bit. I'm a little dirty after making all that pie crust and filling. And then we're going to finish these off. I'm going to fill them up. And then I'm going to take them with me and we're going to bake them at my parents' place for Thanksgiving dinner. Boom. Our pie crust ready. Check out that easy recipe on the channel. Apple pie filling ready. Check out that easy recipe on the channel. We're going to go ahead and fill this pie up. Bring it in closer. We placed one. Roll back 2 and 4. Place another. Roll them up. Roll back 1, 3, and 5. Place another. Roll them back. Roll back 2 and 4. Place another. Roll them back. Roll back 1, 3, and 5. And place another. Again, these don't have to be perfect, but There you go. So now we've latticed it. So now what we want to do is take this crust and we're just going to turn it up and over and roll it in so we have a little bit thicker crust on the edge. If we need a little bit more crust, we certainly have it at the ready. Ready for the oven. About 45 minutes, between 350 to 450, depending on your oven. We want it to be a nice golden brown. We're probably going to give this a nice little egg wash or brush it with milk and add some coarse sugar on top to give it a little bit more flair. Boom! Apple pie done!
Every time you do a new thing, fancy camera work too.
Whatever my videographer wants to.
You get 3 rings?
Don't tell a 9-year-old how to do stuff. Let them do it on their own. Absolutely.
Wow, good for you.
I don't think anyone should give 9-year-olds direction. I think they should let the 9-year-old figure things out themselves.